Today's video is about repairing the pump in a parts washer. This is my Allied parts washer that I got from Sam's Club about 20 years ago, and it served me quite well, but my pump has finally failed. We're talking about the pump that sits right down here, fully submersible pump. The little hole in the side is where the switch goes out, so you can switch it on and off from the outside. I'm using mineral spirits as my cleaning fluid, and I've had this for, I would say, about 20 years. Now we're going to go over and take a look at the pump. Alright, here's the basic housing that the pump comes in. It's got a flexible spout here where your fluid comes out, a sheet metal case, the switch sits on the outside, and the switch housing doubles as a hanger. If you notice that slight difference there in that edge, that's what actually hangs the pump on the inside of that tank through that hole. Kind of suspends it up out of off the bottom just a little bit. So I couldn't find exactly the same pump, so I had to get a different pump, and I'm going to show you that pump and show you how I installed it. First of all, this is the pump that came in it. It's been partially disassembled already. P60-6, I think it is. I'm not sure who really made it. I did a search on Google. You put those numbers in and it comes up to a pump, but nowhere I could actually buy one. It was mounted inside the metal case there with this little bracket. The wires thread through the hole in the bracket, and it sits down on top of that, holds it down to the bottom. This is the impeller, and then the rest of the pump that went on. So two different times the pump stopped on me, and basically just took the pump apart, and I found that I had some fibrous material in the impeller. Cleaned that out two different times, like I said. Good as new. Pumped fluid again, just as good as it ever did. Found out that material that was clogging up the pump was actually coming from this filter here. It's kind of a fibrous material, and I guess after so many years it was starting to come loose and get up in the pump and just bog the pump down basically. And last time I fixed it, I went ahead and put a piece of screen, just regular window screen in there, and that was to prevent anything big from sucking up in that pump and hanging up my impeller. So that ran for, I don't know, a year, couple years, something like that, and then finally the other day it stopped again, and I tore into it. I figured, well, it's probably just something hung up in the impeller. Well, this time I went into it and there was nothing in the impeller, and then I found out this thing is really hard to turn, so I guess the fluid finally got to it and just locked up the motor internally. Now, this motor is designed to run Stoddard fluid, which is mineral spirits based fluids, and it lasted 20 years, so I really can't complain about it. But after doing quite a big search on Google and not being able to find one, I finally found another one. I'm going to show you that one and then show you how I installed it. So the pump I found is this one right here. I got it from wholesalepumps.com. It's a GP210V. It's similar in size. It's 210 gallons per hour at a 1 foot head. As you can see the specs there on the side of the box. Tells you what the applications are. And here's the instruction manual that came with it. Stuck to the side of the pump was this little sticker showing where I got it. Paid about $70 for the thing with like a ridiculous $12 shipping fee. The shipping nowadays on everything is ridiculous. I mean, every once in a while you can get a deal where you get free shipping. And of course this manual covers a lot of different models, but I circled the one I had, GP210V. That was the one that was most similar to the one I took out. And if you buy one of these pumps, the one thing you want to be careful of is what kind of cleaning fluid you're using. And if you look at the instructions here, you'll see that all these pumps are suitable for circulating unheated Stoddard solvents and aqueous cleaner solutions. So it can also be used with the water-based cleaners. I've tried the water-based cleaners before and I don't care for them. I think that the mineral spirits is the best way to go. So now I'm going to show you how I install the thing. And first of all, I started by just cleaning this whole thing up. I had a little bit of sludge built up in it. And the way that this enclosure is made, it's made such that the pump is sort of enclosed inside the thing, so it can only pull fluid basically through that filter there. So that'll weed out all the little metal particles and things that can get in your pump and screw it up. And then being that this pump's a little bit different, I had to come up with some different brackets. So basically I just set the pump in the corner of this box, and then I put on 2 brackets I had sitting around. All of these are things I just had sitting in my shop. And I put another bracket there, and that limits the movement side to side and up and down somewhat. I mean, it's really not going to go anywhere, but I just wanted to have those brackets on there to keep it from rattling around in there. This one also came with not really a filter, but it did come with a guard just to keep some of the bigger particles and things out of it, but really not that big of a deal since I've got the filter that's going to go over the whole enclosure. And then it being different, the bracket that used to be in there, it's got some holes in the bottom of the box, so I wanted to plug those up just to keep anything from coming through them. So I just threw a couple rivets in there, a couple pop rivets in there, and that'll just keep anything from coming up through the bottom. So everything that goes into the pump's got to go through that filter, and that's probably part of the life of the thing. Now the other thing I did too, these things are set up for 1/4 inch MPT male on the male pipe thread on the pump, and then also coming through the side of the thing was a street L 1/4 inch that they actually welded in place. You can see it here on the outside, just a regular old galvanized street L that I guess the Chinese welded that thing in there. I don't know how that is welding galvanized. I know it's not too good for you, but I guess over in China it really doesn't matter. And then of course you got your flexible spout that comes off of that. And I happen to have sitting around some 1/4 inch pipe nipples or couplings rather, and some angle 3/8 inch hose barbs. So you can see how I plumb that thing up. I'm using a 3/8 inch rubber gasoline vapor hose. I'm going to see how that holds up to the mineral spirits. I think it should do fairly well, and if it lasts for a year or so, I can always take it off and put another one on. And the other thing I did with the other pump did not have is in the instructions it says that the wire has to be protected inside of a conduit. Now my other one wasn't. In fact, we'll take a look at it. It was just sitting in there and probably partially submerged under the fluid. The only thing I've noticed about it is it's kind of hard, but there's no cracks or anything in it, so I don't really know exactly what caused the pump to go bad. I'm just guessing maybe it finally leaked some fluid into it around that seal there, around the shaft, or I don't know that it can come in through the top. I know they said that these things are all potted up, so the likelihood of something getting in there and from fluid and ruining it, I guess, is kind of rare. So I guess really and truly 20 years on that little pump's pretty good, and I used to come out here and use my parts washer and actually leave it on for days at a time and forget it and come back out and realize it was on. So that's how I did my plumbing there. And then the conduit I just used is a 1/2 inch MPT sticking out of the top of the pump. I just took some number 2 Permatex and went on the threads screwed in a coupling, a 1/2-inch coupling, pipe coupling, and then I found actually a brass shower head pipe that you like just basically screw into the wall and put your shower head on. It was an oil rubbed bronze piece. This was it right here, and I just cut it at an angle. I wasn't using it for anything else, and then screwed it down through there, and the wire comes up through there, and I figured that might protect the wire a little more. I really don't know why you would really need it, but I'm just hoping maybe that doesn't leak in, and maybe the wire will stay a little more flexible and not get hard or go bad. Okay, so that's the internal part and how I did that, and then of course all this sheet metal goes on with sheet metal screws. There's 2 there that holds that one in, and then of course there's a top that goes on once you're all done. And then around back I didn't button up the electrical part of it just to show how I did the wiring. The wire comes up from the pump through that, I'm going to call it a protective pipe, and then it comes through the back wall of the housing here with a little strain relief, and that was how it was done originally anyway. And then it comes out this side, and then the power cord comes in this way with another strain relief, and it has a switch. It has actually illuminated switch. When you turn that on, it lights up. You see how I made my connections in there. And of course is the ground. This is the ground from the power cord, and then the ground from the motor actually goes here, and it was screwed in right here. And then this just goes on the side and screws on with 2 more sheet metal screws. So I just want to show off my pump, my little modification I did. My new pump there. Maybe if you never need to replace your pump, you can use this kind. Can't really remember the name of the, oh there it is. It's a BECKETT. And before I bought this thing, I actually went to their website and looked at their manual, which they actually had this manual here that you could download and look at, and when I read that it was suitable for that fluid, then it was a done deal. So hopefully this is going to work good, and I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Thank you very much.